Secret Service is ending its investigation into who left a bag of cocaine at the White House without naming any suspects. The agency announced today that there is no physical evidence to pin down any person of interest. Tests for DNA and fingerprints on the cocaine bag have come up empty. Surveillance footage also did not give agents any concrete leads. The closure comes 11 days after the cocaine was found on the ground floor of the West Wing, forcing a brief evacuation of the building. NewsNation's Joe Khalil is live in Washington for us tonight. Joe, mystery tonight still unsolved.
Yeah, it is, Elizabeth, and that's really the big disappointment. We talked to lawmakers just as they came out of that private meeting with Secret Service. They were disappointed on two levels. One, that the investigation is wrapping up at all, that it's done, and two, that it didn't yield the results they wanted, which is to find the person who was responsible for it. So now the attention turns back to the Secret Service to see what changes, if any, they're going to make to improve their security protocol. Investigation over. The Secret Service announced their probe into cocaine found in the West Wing of the White House is done. And the question everyone wants to get to the bottom of, whose cocaine was it? Secret Service now says definitively they don't know. Multiple House Republicans in the room for the private briefing say they are disappointed. Some say it's a total failure of the Secret Service.
They have not been able to target when the substance was left, who left it.
And to say that it was just some weekend visitor, that's bogus. Nobody's buying that at all.
I just don't find the excuses on how we can't find out who had cocaine in the White House.
Lawmakers telling NewsNation the Secret Service came up with a list of 500 potential suspects in the White House during the time window the cocaine was left, but that the agency couldn't narrow their search further than that, choosing not to drug test those 500 individuals. The agency releasing a statement saying there was, quote, no surveillance footage that provided any leads and no physical evidence. Therefore, investigators cannot identify the person responsible for bringing cocaine into the White House.
This is the most secure building in the world with the best law enforcement agents in the world, and they can't get to the bottom of figuring out who the cocaine caper is. I mean, come on.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace says moving forward, concerns remain about security at the White House. She says she's still confident Secret Service is capable of preventing other harmful substances from entering the West Wing, but expects security protocol will get tighter based on what agents told Congress today.
There was an acknowledgement today about some of their security protocols and how they might be modified in the future. I have no doubt that any other type of substance would be able to be found.
NewsNation heard much the same from the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, Jamie Raskin.
They said that they are going to, try to talk to the White House about whether there are further security improvements that could be made to catch this kind of thing.
Secret Service not answering questions about whether their own security protocol at the White House will change as a result of this cocaine episode. Now, Elizabeth, I'm told, because people may be wondering this at home, those 500 people who Secret Service had on a list, it seems unrealistic they could have actually drug tested all of them. It would require subpoenas and a lot of potential civil liberty questions there. So I'm told that's not realistic. We also learned today that this is not the first time over the last few years a banned substance was found. 2 other times marijuana was found in the White House, this time being cocaine, which is part of the concern about what potentially could get through next time. That's why so many lawmakers saying security needs to change.
And Joe, who had access to that part of the White House where the cocaine was found?
So it was staff members, certainly. It was also guests of people who may have been taking tours. Now, we should mention, these aren't the regular tours that you sign up for when you go to the White House. This specific entrance where it was found, it would need to have been a special guest. So let's say family members of Congress members or someone who works within the White House. So it would be special guests, it would be visitors to the White House, and also staff. So when you talk about how many people that includes, we're talking hundreds, if not more than 1,000 people in the span of a weekend. That is why Secret Service said from the beginning it was going to be kind of like finding a needle in a haystack. Not satisfying to a lot of Americans, I know, but there certainly are quite a few people that come in and out of those doors.
Joe Khalil on the story. Thanks so much for it tonight.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.